Hello and welcome to another episode of the Never a Straight Answer podcast, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joining me in the studio, well, you know him, he's my co-host. He's always here, he's Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, good evening all, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening.
Welcome back, it's been another week.
It has.
Calm down, peeps, calm down. Well, it's actually... We're a bit late this week putting the episode out. I do apologise for that. Yeah. But welcome back.
Welcome.
For another instalment of the show. Thank you to new listeners and, of course, you repeat offenders. It's always good to have you along. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. I liked last week's episode. It was really good about vampires and stuff.
Yeah. There's been a lot this week about vampires.
It's Halloween. It's been Halloween, bro.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean? It's been Halloween. Everyone's been out costuming it up. I've seen it all over the internet. You know, I didn't do anything this year.
No, same here.
I think we did last year, didn't we? Like a video episode.
Yes,
and
we did.
We did costumes, but like we might do that again at some point.
In
the future. But no, I just basically sat. Well, did you do anything for Halloween? Did you just chill?
I just chilled. I was watching a few films.
Any trick or treaters?
No, actually, surprisingly,
no.
No, because I was in and out like a yo-yo, to be honest.
So you probably wouldn't have seen them even. They probably knocked on, but you were out.
Yeah.
See, it's weird, isn't it? I feel like people don't knock on random houses anymore, trick-or-treating, you know. You
gotta be careful, aren't you, these days?
I remember when I was a kid and we just literally, like,
hit the street,
hit the full street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you've got to be a bit more careful. And I think, like, parents are advising the children to just knock on houses they know.
Yeah.
I did see a story this week which made me kind of like, I was like, this is kind of different. Two kids trick-or-treating, obviously. They were teenage lads, so they're not exactly in a costume or anything, but they've got balaclavas on.
Ooh.
Yeah, hit a ring doorbell and wait for the response. But I think
the police wait for the police to turn.
Resident was like, "I open my door to you." And one of them looks down, sees the bowl for the Halloween candy, and it's empty. So what do you think they did?
Smash the bowl.
No, actually, they filled it up.
They took
their own candy and filled it up. So, you know, there are some good kids out there. And obviously, you can't judge a book by its cover.
That's true.
She felt like these looked like trouble and didn't answer the door.
Yeah.
But they ended up doing her a good deed anyway. I thought that was quite nice.
I do have to say, like, was that bowl for candy or was it just a normal bowl and they just decided, you know what, it looks like a bowl for candy, I'll throw my candy in there?
I think it was a Halloween thing. You know what I mean? So it's definitely... Anyway... We've got loads going on in the show tonight.
We have.
This week we're joined by special guests.
Yes,
it's been a while.
Indeed.
It's been a hot minute since we've actually had guests on the show. And tonight we're joined by a couple of really inspirational guys.
Yeah.
We're joined by the co-creators of a new documentary, In Plain Sight, which looks at how the government hides UFO
details and
info.
Try to shove it away.
It's an actual... superb documentary. I do recommend you check it out.
Definitely, yeah.
We'll obviously give you the links and stuff in the description to that so you can check it out.
Yes.
But I think it's available on Amazon as well. So if you have got a Prime membership, I'm pretty sure that that should be included, surely. And if not, it shouldn't be like too expensive.
No,
but
shouldn't be.
Anyway, I feel like, we'll get into all that. But
we're
going to be joined by the guys... who created the documentary a bit later on, Chris Ruppert and Taylor Transue, it was a really good interview. Really good interview. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. That's coming up just shortly in the show. Plus we've also got this week's news and world events, and bits and pieces, other bits and pieces. Yeah. So keep tuned. It's all good. Keep
it tuned in.
Tuned in. Yeah. But other than that, what have you been up to this week, Mr. Taylor?
Me, just the usual. I've been working. I've been looking up information, and like I said, vampires were coming up all over the place.
I'm going to suck your blood.
So I was looking at a bit more of the history of the vampires and a bit more.
It's funny, isn't it? How monsters, especially like you kind of...
Loch Ness as well's come out quite a lot lately.
Well, you can tell me about that in a moment, but like the way I feel like, zombies, werewolves, vampires, they all have like their moment in the sun. Well, not vampires, they're not allowed. But like basically they all have kind of their moment of 5 minutes of fame where you know, vampires are popular and all your TV shows are like Vampire Diaries and True Blood and this, that, and the other. And then, you know, we go off vampires. Now all of a sudden it's zombies, and it's like every show's zombies, and we all really like zombie things. And
then it's werewolves.
Well, it's funny actually, because I'd not seen any werewolf stuff for ages, since the 80s. Yeah, there's not really been that much werewolf action, has there?
Well, yeah, Underground was a pretty.
I mean,
good
since the 80s, I would say obviously you had the Michael Jackson Thriller video, very sticks in your mind. You've got American Werewolf in London, American Werewolf in Paris. You've got Teen Wolf. You've got a good handful of werewolfy style stuff. I mean, there's more zombies and vampires.
Yeah, but you can only do
days.
so much with him, and that's why like they've changed the thing of like the combining the fighting and that.
I'm glad you've come up and said that. Yeah, because doing something new with them is kind of obviously the dream in it. You want to do something new with any subject matter.
Put a bit more sparkle on it. Yeah.
Well, Marvel have just released.
Fuck off.
No, hear me out.
Go on.
So, Marvel, obviously, they do one-shots and they do one-off stories. They don't just... It's all not always episodic and really, like, long-winded.
Okay.
You know, they do these little kind of one-issue stories or whatever.
Right.
And I feel like they're kind of pushing towards these sort of one-of-a-kind things. More like... Do you know, like, when we used to have made-for-TV movies?
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of what it feels like they're doing, and they're doing like Marvel special presentations.
Right.
And one which is coming up at Christmas is the new Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Which if you know about the Star Wars Christmas holiday special, it's kind of a take on that.
Okay.
But what they did was a werewolf thing. It's called Werewolf by Night, right? And I'm not even joking, it's brilliant, It's set like an old monster movie, you know, black and white, really quite grainy. You've got monster hunters and monsters. It's really good. It's got a really good story. It's a one-off, feature-length
it won't be a one-off. It'll be, right, you know what, that character was quite good, so we're going to make a whole movie over you.
They might do that, but at the moment, it's a one-off story. And it's on Disney Plus. Check it out. Werewolf by Night. It's really good. My recommendation.
I think there's far too much Marvel now, like in different directions. And
the thing is, right again, Warner
and
Brothers.
DC.
Look, Warner Brothers. Right? Do you think there's too much Warner Brothers stuff out there?
Yeah.
They're a production company. It just happens that they have this well of characters to draw upon. Marvel. And they are
but then you're losing.
You've got a shared universe, but at the end of the day, they're a production company. They are making movies. It's new movies that you've not seen, they're new stories and new things. At some point, superheroes might get stale, and we'll all be longing for a Western,
I was just thinking that we're due a Westerns coming up soon.
You never know, mate. Westerns could be the next big thing, right? We don't know, but at the moment, Marvel's big. They're taking advantage of the popularity.
Well,
they don't really go that far wrong with stuff they make. So crack on, as far as I'm concerned.
No, it's just
and that's the same
amount
with
of
every other production company
out.
making movies. I'd say Warner Brothers crack on making Warner Brothers movies. Paramount, you crack on making yours. Sony, you make yours.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
At the end of it, they're cutting their own throat.
Maybe
at the end of it, they are cutting their own throat. But they've missed the advantage of people.
They just need to keep making it more exciting. That's
people's imagination on like that character who just turned up in this and then went off, and you know, someone might think, oh, well, that character could do this, and get their imagination going in a
there you go.
Direction.
That's a good thing, and I feel like this...
Yeah, but they've stopped that. They've kind of stopped that because they go, right, well, this is actually what that character does.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter because at the end of the day now, it's like there's such a PR machine in terms of like, you know, they don't really need to market any of the movies because people know they're coming out. They're waiting for them to come out, and they basically just go, speculate on everything. There's not a stone unturned in the speculation of this new upcoming film, and 99.9% of it's going to be wrong, but it doesn't stop people drawing and making conclusions and wondering what that character's doing or where he is or who he's fighting. It's just, that's great. I think if it keeps your imagination working and it's, you know, entertaining and the kids love it and the adults love it as well, Now, it's great when a parent can take a kid to a movie and enjoy the movie as well as the kid.
Yeah.
So, I feel like Marvel does that. They cater for everyone. So, anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Marvel all day.
Yeah, fuck that.
I tell you what, though, we'll talk
Marvel.
about DC.
Fuck DC as well.
Well, this is the thing, you see. James Gunn, who actually directed Guardians of the Galaxy, is very good at team-up movies, he ended up taking on Suicide Squad for the second Suicide Squad movie, which was a lot better than the first. Just been made managing director of DC.
All right,
movies. So potentially could get a bit of a turnaround here. You know what I mean? It's like somebody who's actually a good filmmaker and has, a proven track record of making great movies.
Well,
anyway,
it depends on what they're planning on bringing out, and obviously they can't copy the Marvel way, but
Black Adam was alright.
It could have other ideas.
Black Adam was alright. That was the most recent DC movie I've seen.
I haven't seen it yet.
Check it out.
Yeah.
I went out. I've been learning new stuff this week.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, and we will be doing a giveaway.
Yeah.
Woo! I've not worked out the details. Probably be in next week's episode.
Yeah.
We'll think about that. So basically, right. I wanted to be able to learn how to make our own T-shirts.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we said we do merch.
Yeah, we do.
But we use like TeePublic and stuff, and I feel like they're quite high priced, right?
Yeah.
For what you get.
Yeah.
And I don't, judge anybody if you don't want it, if you've never bought one or you don't want to buy one because it's too expensive. I totally understand. Yeah. So my theory on it is, I'd rather make my own T-shirts, and then if anyone wanted to buy one, or we wanted to do a giveaway, then we've got a box there. We can pull one out, right?
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, I decided I was going to learn how to screen print. Right?
Yes.
And I've been on a course and learned a bit. And I managed to print off a few of our very own handmade, one-of-a-kind T-shirts by me.
Very nice as well.
They're beautiful, I've got to say, right? And you could own one. We'll give you the details next week. And it's a one-of-a-kind, and I made it.
Yeah.
Handmade.
So he might even sign it.
I might even sign it, right? We might both sign it.
Yeah,
right?
if you want to.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll come up with a thing next week about that. So make sure you come back for next week's episode where you could win a bit of Never a Straight Answer history.
Oh yes, indeed. So get ready. Get ready to save your money.
Save your money. Save your money.
I think everyone's doing that anyway, aren't they? Or trying to.
Well, that's it. Cash moves everything around.
It does. Dollar bill, yo.
Dollar bill, yo. Right, yeah. So, moving on with the show.
Yes, indeed.
Have I missed anything? Yes. If you want to help us out, you can go over to Patreon. You can join up. We're going to have some extra content going on there this week.
Yes.
Including the video
yeah,
of the interview that we're about to listen to.
Yeah.
If you'd like to see the video as extra material.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to see our faces or see the...
Make sure you go over to Patreon and sign up as an agent, special agent, or beyond top secret. That'll be posted this week.
Yes.
So if you want to check that out, you can only check it out on Patreon.
Yeah.
So do
nowhere
that.
else you can go to see it. And there will be more
stuff coming.
Yeah. We've got some plans.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But if you'd like to help us out, that's the way to do it.
Yes,
we find that most people wanting, to help out would like something for the money.
Yeah.
So if you'd like that, go over to our website and you can sign up to Patreon as well as check out the merch. The merch is there at the moment.
It is.
And you can buy it from TeePublic.
You can indeed.
But, we'll give you a heads up when our merch is actually...
Yeah, things are changing and looking like
stuff's happening.
Bit of a direction.
Stuff is happening.
It is.
If you want to get in touch with us, email us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. And we're on Twitter for now.
We are, yeah. Don't know how long. But hey, we only tell the truth, so you know what I mean? So
true that.
We should be on every platform with no problem.
We shouldn't have any problem.
No.
Musk might want to charge us £8, but I ain't paying that
Fuck
for
that
a
blue
tit.
tit. Yeah, fucking blue tit. I put that on myself.
He's a blue tit.
Yeah.
Anyway. Ooh.
Oh,
hello, Moto.
Yeah,
right.
Moto, man.
So, moving on.
Yes.
Well, tonight we're joined on the show by the creators of a new documentary, In Plain Sight, which looks at how far the government will go to hide what it knows about UFOs and extraterrestrials. We have witness testimony from UFO experts, retired CIA and former counterintelligence agency officers, please welcome to the show, Chris and Tyler.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us on. Thanks for having us. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Thanks for having us on across the pond.
Well, so where you calling in from? So you're coming in from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Correct. Yep. In the States, baby.
We look
so the East Coast. And Chris, you missed the little segue in the beginning, but these boys are from Manchester.
Yeah.
So you watch your football comments, dog.
I know absolutely nothing about football or any sports.
Anything about City, but Man U.
About football either, to be honest.
There you go.
It's one of those things that people say to me, they go, "Oh, you're from Manchester, you're a blue or a red?" And I go, neither. And they just look at me like I'm a fucking oddity.
Yeah, you're a nut job, man.
It's like, I'm like, music and art and stuff.
Got me one who fell out the basket.
Yeah, so don't worry, you can get your football comments and digs in. Don't worry about that.
I love it.
So we watched the documentary.
Yeah, great documentary, by the way, lads. Brilliant.
Absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
I've got to say, what sparked the idea and what sparked, the kind of interest in making the documentary? I mean, I assume it was something to do with the government report that came out a year or two ago and what sort of lack of answers that gave. Would you say
that's a good assumption? It started with so we saw that government report was coming out in like June of 2021. That kind of sparked my interest into UFOs and extraterrestrials and had me researching it more. In August of 2021, Chris said, "Hey, do you want to start making paranormal documentaries?" I was like, "Yup, count me in." And so we hit the ground running. And based on that first government reporting here to Congress in the U.S., the UAP task force, we made a documentary called Conscious Contact, Full Disclosure, about telepathy, consciousness, UFOs, extraterrestrials, hybrids, and that type of thing. So that released last April. Then we did one called The Ghost of Gettysburg, released last April. Secrets of the Sasquatch, released here July 5th. And then this one, we were like, okay, we'd like to get back to the UFOs and extraterrestrials. We're covering all these paranormal topics. And I happened to see in November of 2021 that John Ramirez, a retired CIA officer, had started giving some different interviews on YouTube, as well as like a PowerPoint presentation that he created. It was a ton of slides. I don't remember the exact number, but maybe like 100 or 200. He ran the presentation by the CIA, and they didn't say, "Hey, everything in this is 1,000% true," but they said, "Hey, we approve you giving this presentation," right? It's like signed off by this, by the CIA. So I happened to notice that. I'm like, "Oh, Chris, man, I feel like we should make, like a documentary either behind closed doors or in plain sight, the intelligence community and UFOs." So we had the title and then, scheduled that interview with John Ramirez. And then that snowballed into interviewing MUFON field investigator Jesse Peak. So MUFON, it's a global mutual UFO network where people can report sightings and they're collected database. From there, it led to Tom Carey, who's a Roswell author and expert. He's written 12 novels, has interviewed over 600 first and secondhand witnesses to Roswell. So the guy is just this plethora of knowledge and done a ton of legwork, especially back like in the 90s where, my man didn't have Google search, right, to find names and addresses and people to contact. Exactly. Like this is some serious legwork using payphones and phone books and just, talking to people in network. Like it had to be a tremendous amount of effort. And then from there, we got Eric Mintel. We interviewed him, who's an experiencer and paranormal investigator in South Central Pennsylvania here. And then lastly, we got former Air Force Office of Special Investigations counterintelligence officer Richard Doty, who, once we had his interview, Chris, it was like, "Chris, we've got enough." And I do a lot of the filming. Chris helped on some, but anything with flying, typically I go just put a backpack with 3 cameras, my gimbal, my drone, tripods, lights, all that stuff, hop on a plane, just with carry-on bag and fly to these people's houses and shoot the interviews. But Chris then takes all these interviews and he's like Michelangelo, man. Like the
not wrong.
The doc was always there. He just had to clear away the rough edges, right? And so he goes through and makes this beautiful piece of artwork, piecing together and finding the similarities between these people's stories. And so that's how we started it, and that's how it came to fruition, really.
So you've just said there about Chris's, contribution in terms of his editing skills and how you see it as an art piece. And I honestly said this to Chris just before we started, that one thing that stood out about the documentary was how it was stitched together, how it does tell a story. It kind of gives a really kind of compelling narrative about how
gives a book
we are being there is kind of information there that is being subdued and being repressed from general population. It kind of strikes me as kind of really interesting that how you're able to kind of make it so kind of compelling with the edit process. I mean, would you like to discuss that a bit?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so this is our 4th documentary. So obviously I've grown quite a bit with just the experience. And I do a ton of editing in my professional career with like commercial work and stuff like that, and short films and narrative stuff. So I come from a more narrative background, though.
I was going to say, because it's the narrative, isn't it? It's how it's kind of put together. So sorry to break.
No, you're fine. So I strive to make something that's just interesting and compelling and entertaining, because I feel like if it's very dry, and even though maybe it's factual, it doesn't work its way into people's brains, right? People don't want to tune in for something that's just dull and boring. So we have, obviously, I wouldn't say we dramatize it, but we add some frills and B-roll and music and punctuate things and just keep the narrative moving and bouncing around to people.
Yeah, like that.
So and I think that makes it way more interesting and compelling when you're watching it. When somebody gets to a point where they say something really interesting, and then we go to another person, and you just keep building on that drama like that.
And you're hitting as well the people that haven't really got into it yet, and also the people who have gotten into it, but also the hardliners as well. So you're giving like points in each part.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we are striving for with Docside Media. Is we kind of want to be able to approach a really big audience of people who are all over the spectrum on these kind of subjects. And whether you are very experienced and knowledgeable about the stuff, we hope we can bring in new nuggets of information for those people. But also, we really want to get people to open their minds to this kind of subject matter. And so there's a lot of people who like just have a vague interest in this stuff. And we hope that this is kind of a gateway for some of them.
Yeah.
And even the skeptical people, you know what I mean?
Well, this is a really good point, because, I mean, in terms of, like you said earlier, in terms of, like, documentaries that you'd made previous, there was a fair bit of paranormal, the Gettysburg Ghost, and, you know, you've kind of touched on UFO, but it was something you've come back to. In your personal views, what would you say that your views on extraterrestrials and UFOs were generally? And would you say that the experience of meeting these people and, you know, having these conversations with, you know, such people as retired CIA and the UFO experts, would you say that that's broadened your mind into more belief, or would you say that you find yourself more skeptical of it?
Or looking more into it?
Chris, you're the more skeptical of the two. Why don't you take that first?
Sure. Yeah, no, I'm definitely the more skeptical. But I will say this. I'm trying to very much keep more of an open mind about the subject matter as well. So what interests me so much is when I watch these raw interviews of people, and there's just a level of authenticity and personal connection to a lot of the subject matter for these people. And I can see that they are honest, and they are believing 100% what they say, which does, you know, make me more, makes me more believe their story, their experience, because, you know, I've never personally had a UFO experience or anything like that, but I kind of want one. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, sure.
And so the other thing about this is because we've interviewed all these people, and I get the raw interviews again, and I get to just watch them uncut. And sometimes, well, almost every time, they come around to like very similar talking points. And it's like, those are the patterns for me that I find that are interesting, because while maybe some of the minor details might be different, there's always a lot of things that match up.
So,
and so
through the narrative,
right.
which is great for you as an editor, because it helps you stitch that story together, doesn't it?
100%. So, and it's also makes it more believable to me when, you know, these people who've never met each other across the country, across the world, even sometimes, have similar experiences. It's just, how does that happen? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I totally agree. And I think that, I mean, when we're looking at kind of, you know, incidents that are going back as far as, you know, as far back as kind of records begin, basically, when you've got kind of all these kind of biblical references and just kind of unexplained accounts. It's interesting that most people who have these eyewitness accounts, they all say very similar things, and like you say, there's a lot of kind of recurring themes. A lot of kind of things that crop up are, and especially even with kind of when you see these RAF or, you know, Air Force pilots who come out and say, the technology we saw wasn't of this world. I've been in the, you know, in the armed services for so many years, and I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I'm assuming that these NDAs that they need to sign and stuff, you know, if they are involved in these projects. But it's, you know, why kind of have these kind of groups and, you know, investigations if we've already kind of had these encounters? If Roswell happened, then why do we need to kind of put these public investigations forward to kind of, you know, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Narrow area instead of actually going to the spot that you would have eventually got to. They're putting barriers in the way to push you out of the way, including using law, using force, using your family.
For sure.
You know what I mean? What do you think, Tyler, about where do you see UFOs and the government and all that together?
Man, so one, I'll share this little neat story that so we've been on a lot of podcasts, right? Yeah. Talking about our new documentary, In Plain Sight, the Intelligence Community and UFOs.
Yeah.
And the one podcast here at the end of last week we went on, like right before the show, the host happened to also be friends with John Ramirez, the retired CIA officer. She got a quote from him. She asked him, "Hey, John, did you get a chance to watch the doc? What did you think?" And one, he was like, dude, I almost like passed out and fell over. He was just like, man, Tyler, like Docside, they're just very professional, very respectful, did an amazing job, just very high quality production. And he's like, and he said, I was very pleased to see and hear other people talking about information that you had to be read into to know. So I'm like, what, dude? It was just cool. Just hearing this for the CIA officer, I guess most likely commenting on information that Richard Doty had talked about in the doc. So, dude, I was floored by that. In general, I've always been curious and thought, man, I wouldn't be surprised if there were extraterrestrials. The universe is a big place. My experience through meeting these people, and as Chris said, them just being very sincere and genuine in their experiences, just leads me, much more. The odds are in the favor of, man, dude, the universe is just so big. And if any other sentient intelligent life evolves at the same pace we have, and they only got 100 or 1,000 year head start, bro, that might be enough. Like in another 100 to 1,000 years, I don't know. I wouldn't rule out like anti-gravity propulsion or harnessing quantum entanglement and being able to cover vast distances instantaneously, or at least transfer data that way.
Yeah.
Like, because people 100 years ago, if they were talking about, oh man, guys in the UK will be able to have a podcast with guys in the US with clear video and clear crisp audio, you're like, not what? Nah, that's impossible. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Or things like Neuralink or these, SpaceX rockets, right, that were reusing boosters, landing themselves. I mean, we have come so incredibly far in these 100 years. So if anything else started 100, 1,000, bro, I can't even wrap my mind around what 100,000 years of a head start or 1 million would look like. I won't be able to comprehend that until like we're in that time period. To our grandchildren's grandchildren, it'll be commonplace. They'll think we were savages, not being able to go wherever we wanted at any point in time.
Generation X think that we were savages just being like born in the 80s and having to use like a Bakelite phone and dial up and stuff, and it's like, that's what, 20 years, difference. And like you say, in terms of where we'll be in 1,000 years, 100,000 years, if we were still lucky to be here, then it's mind-boggling. It's that kind of distinction between like the 1800s witchcraft and science, and how
magic.
It's kind of how it's all about kind of your perception of things, isn't it? So I feel like if there is an extraterrestrial life form that far ahead of us, then in terms of what they've got to offer, or travel, or like data communications, any of this stuff, it's just so far out of our comprehension. It's untrue. In the documentary, you were talking, or one of the chaps, I think it's the counterintelligence guy who actually said he was at Area 51 and witnessed a UFO. You witnessed an alien being. Yeah,
and I'm on it.
Correct.
I mean, that blew my mind in terms of like, because you hear these kind of like Roswell stories and how an alien being was, captured or taken, and how they shared information. I mean, we've done kind of so many episodes, or spoke about it in so many episodes, about how these high-level officials who were in these situations have, had these stories, and like you say, with the sincerity, they've never changed the story. They've always kind of pushed the same, nope, this happened, this is exactly how it happened, and if my career's ruined because of it, then so be it, but I need to tell you the truth. And it's amazing that these guys will put the careers, and very decorated careers in most instances, on the line for this sort of stuff.
And their families.
Especially when it's like things so far out as, the idea that, no, I saw the alien, I saw him on a monitor, we've kind of communicated, or any of this sort of kind of stuff. It is quite extreme, and it makes me think, like I said earlier, about needing these authorities to try and prove what UFOs are is just kind of redundant, and is just kind of smoke and mirrors, just to kind of make us, the public, think that they're doing everything they can to potentially give us those answers. Do you think we'll ever get close to disclosure?
Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, I feel like maybe we are already, but I mean, it's hard to say, because we talk about like Roswell a lot in the documentary, and for good reason, because it's like, it's like the most popular, UFO crash. Everybody is aware of it, even if you're not really into the subject matter. Everybody's heard of Roswell. But you're like, well, why don't they just come out and give that information? Why doesn't the government just say, here's what we have, all this stuff? But you got to think like what they did to cover up, how many people were affected by whatever they had to do,
how many laws they broke. Trust as well. If you're trusting in the government and they've done something massive like that, and that's why I don't think it will ever come out, because the consequences to them is a lot more than the consequence of us just finding it ourselves.
Well, they say in the documentary there how, if it was just a case of a ship or even a being, then it wouldn't be so much of a big problem. But they think that there's an actual other reason why they keep it a secret. Obviously, if you need to check out the documentary. Roswell is talked about a lot during the documentary. Do you think it is most, like you said there, it's the most kind of recognized or known incident? Do you think it is the most significant incident or just the most publicized? Do you think there's been more significant incidents that, and again, Roswell's, because it's such a kind of high status incident that they let us have that one, you know what I mean? Whereas a lot of the other incidents we don't hear about.
Yeah, it's really hard to say because, I mean, maybe the cat got out of the bag a little bit too much for them to cover up at that point, but the waters have been so muddied for that story as well. So the job that they wanted to do maybe is already done. Like it's just a fun talking point to a lot of people right now. But with the new stuff coming out, the UAP report legitimizes. Is that the word I'm looking for? Legitimizes.
Yeah. Legitimizes.
We'll go with that one.
Legitimizes. I feel like a lot of things, just because it makes it seem like there's something out there, but they don't know what it is. Now, whether they do know what it is, and that is why they put it out there to muddy. You can go in circles with this stuff.
Exactly. It is a big kind of swizzle, isn't it?
And don't forget,
which is the frustrating thing. But yeah,
it's not just the US; it's all the countries around the world. For sure, it's not just one.
This is the thing, isn't it? Because I feel like with honestly, and I've kind of said this before, but it feels like the world needs, America's kind of stamp of approval on the whole UFO situation. And it's like, if the US government turn around and say it's legit, then the rest of the world will go and believe it. But I'm sure that the UK have had our own incidents. They've got their own files. Yeah. France, Germany, all these other countries, I'm assuming, have got their own, secret files on the topic. And what amazes me is that not one of them have come forward to say, well, this is the evidence, so.
But Putin has threatened 3 times within a year.
Putin makes a lot of threats.
Yeah, that he was going to actually let the information out if the US wouldn't stop certain sanctions. Now, if in that case, I think he's got a good opportunity to do it now. He's got a good opportunity to turn around at the last point and go, right, we don't need to use nuclear weapons because we have no fucking land to control. Why don't we just go around and go, America's been lying all along and so's every other government around the world. Here's the proof. Bang, bang. Then you're going to get people uprising against.
I understand where you're coming from.
It will help him a little bit more.
At the moment, it's like, so we live in a pretty cynical world where you're going to get a lot of people who are just going to call bullshit, and they're just going to say it's all propaganda, 100%. It's not legitimate, it's coming from that source, so therefore we can't really, acknowledge it.
It depends on what gets put forward.
Whatever, So I feel like if it's not exactly putting him in a very good position at all, really, because if he did come out and say, yeah, aliens do exist, we've got proof, then at this point, if he would have done it a couple of years ago, when it was a bit quiet, maybe we would have listened, but I don't know if it'd be called as kind of just propaganda at this point,
Yeah, true. It could,
especially using it as a last resort card. I don't know, but.
I agree, dude. It is a little sus why every country seems to look to the U.S. But you brought up a good point. I don't know why everybody feels
ahead of it.
To follow the U.S.'s lead. I will say, dude, I feel very encouraged that, they are making these congressional oversight committees and these new offices and these new forms of reporting for Navy pilots and FAA pilots, airline pilots, so they can collect data, and start destigmatizing it. The fact that NASA, is starting to, and not the Never a Straight Answer podcast, but the
swindlers who get a load of money and make rockets.
NASA, I don't even know what it is. What, National Air and Space Association or some Aerospace Association? I just made that up off the cuff, and I'm an American. Shame on me. But the fact that that large body, scientific government body, is taking it seriously now and wanting to collect data, I find encouraging. And I don't know. I think we've been my gut feeling is like, look, eventually the cat is going to come out of the bag. We need to get ahead of it and start shaping public opinion ahead of time. So and that's what my gut tells me as like being into marketing and stuff. I'm like, dude, if it's coming out anyways, we need to at least start
own the message,
getting people prepped for it so that, so that if something comes out, say in 2 years, there's extraterrestrial crafts visiting us. To what end, we don't quite know yet, but it looks like they're studying us. And people are like, wait, what? They're like, dude, we had the UAP task force saying out of 113 objects, out of the 114 were not foreign tech and they were not U.S. tech. Like, to me, that only leaves one thing, extraterrestrials, right? So they like leave it in plain sight and they'll say, yo, guys, we told you it wasn't from anybody else.
Yeah, but that's what bugged me about the actual government report, because that's exactly kind of how it put it. It was we're not saying it's not UFOs, or we are saying the UFOs because they're unidentified, but we're not saying they're aliens, but they could be. And it was so open-ended, it gave nothing away, and it was a bit of an anticlimax. I mean, we were kind of really looking forward to reading it, and it didn't really give us anything. So, I'm hoping that these new task force, these kind of new independent, or if these independent, I mean, the thing is with these task force, the people who've got the information are the people who are setting up the task forces. So, all they need to do really is give the information to the right people. And
I think the patches, basically patches that they're doing what Project Blue Book ended up doing, saying, there was a lot of air balloons and blah, blah, and there's like 700 and odd that we don't know what it were, but they're probably nothing.
Because like Tyler was just saying there about kind of say out of 120 incidents, they can kind of you can account for say 80% of them being like in foreign tech or our tech, but there's still a deficit where we can't explain either way. So it's that sort of. However how outrageous, if there's no other explanation, it must be, and
wouldn't you be really, really angry if they did turn around and say, we've been hiding this for so long, we've been using all this money to do blah blah,
it'd be one of the biggest lies in history. I mean, 75 years it's been.
Well, it's been longer than that, isn't it? Really, it's been throughout our past.
You guys say that, but like in the U.S., think about what Edward Snowden revealed, that the NSA is spying on every U.S. citizen.
But what happened to him?
What happened? Nothing. They're continuing to do it.
Yeah.
And in the United States here, it is an extremely polarizing political climate right now. So we're just infighting. Yeah. Everybody's it's just a mess. And everybody works ungodly amount of hours. We go to work, we come home, we're kids, we're tired, we go to bed, we repeat the grind. And in the interim, we're also fighting over stupid politics. And it doesn't really matter because whoever's in charge, they're probably all owned by the same corporations anyways, and they're dictating what actually is happening. So, man, I don't know. Like, you can say, why doesn't the U.S. release this information, or why doesn't because I've got to feel like it's got to benefit somebody somewhere. There's got to be, because this is a very global economy now. All these corporations are international. They all have their finger on the dial. You know what I mean? They all have something they want.
Yeah, I suppose. And it's one way I've never thought about that, actually. And I mean, in terms of like the powers that be in on planet Earth, it's the rich. And, if that information is going to affect their stock prices and how their company operates or their religion operates or whatever, then you know, it's a case of then you're not to release this information because it is just going to destroy us and it's just going to cause more problems than it's worth.
Yeah.
So I can understand why we would try and keep that a secret. But I also do believe, like you were saying earlier, about drip feeding it in and kind of getting us used to the idea. And maybe that would be, you know, down the line. But I honestly don't know about any time soon. And people are kind of hanging on, saying, will 2022, will 2023 be the year? You know, and it's every year at the moment. But you actually kind of came up with a good, interesting thing there. I mean, you're saying about kind of the NSA and watch lists and all the rest of it and tracking, you know, citizens and emails and phone calls. Do you think making the documentary has kind of put you guys on any watch lists? Especially with the people you've been talking to?
I don't know. I think there's definitely the potential for it. Like, I remember when I flew out to interview John Ramirez, he just mentioned, like, when I showed up, you know, he's like, oh, hey, the CIA, yeah, they're aware you're coming to interview me. So I'm just like, oh, dude, that's crazy. Back when we were making Conscious Contact Full Disclosure, the one person that's in it, Anjali, she's a former Department of Defense intelligence officer. To make a long story short, after we started filming it, my son and I were out shooting basketball in the driveway. Just an odd scenario happens where this, like, European couple pull up in, like, a rental car, both middle, like, around my age and like attractive people. They have a baby in the back. Like, I can't see in the car seat, but they make sure to reference there's a baby in the back, and they can't find this person's house, their friend's house, you know, and they just flew in, and the GPS on the rental, it's not activated. And it was just this weird setup where if somebody had access to, like, all my metadata and stuff, whatever, they would have just known I'm the type of guy to be like, oh, well, that's a 7-minute drive. You know what? Here, my son and I'll get in my car. You guys follow us and I'll take you to this, you know, to where you need to go. Yeah. And so it was just weird how I got out of the house super quick. Back door ended up being unlocked, right? Like, I forgot to lock the one door. And as I'm getting to the address that the people were going to, I get to like a 4-way stop sign, look in my rear view mirror, and they're waving me off. Like, okay, yeah, we know where we're at now. And so I never even saw them, like, confirm that they got to the spot.
Getting to where they needed to go.
Yeah. So weird things. There were some odd things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I know covering all types of different topics from our end, we've kind of often thought, is it something that we've been kind of looked into and they've gone, nah, they're no threat.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, it's no threat. Yeah, carry on. Move on, officer, move on.
So, and that could be the case, because if anything, you know, that's what just kind of keeps me going and not falling prey to fear. It's like, oh, dude, I'm like nothing but good vibes, man. Like, I'm not trying to harm anybody. These are people who've had these very unique and personal experiences, and Chris and I feel compelled to sit down and interview these people and then share their stories with the world. If we ever come across somebody that appears just disingenuous and that they're just making stuff up, to what end, you know, we wouldn't feature that. We wouldn't put them in a documentary. Where if we just need to make stuff up, I'll just write it and act it out myself. We don't need to go flying around.
Have any people, you know, during, I mean, not just in this documentary, but have you had anybody kind of, you know, embellish on the facts just to kind of make the story sound a bit more appealing? Or do you find that most people are quite genuine? I mean, you said earlier about how the people that you did include in you know, in the documentary were so genuine that, and you can see that when you watch it, because like they do kind of say it with such sincerity that they obviously do believe what happened and what's gone on is fact. But
Chris
have you ever been in an incident where or a case where you've gone to interview somebody and you've just kind of got halfway through and thought, nah, this guy's not on the level?
Yeah. Did you take anyone out?
Not yet. We've been batting 1,000 so far. And I don't know, you know, it's odd because, like, it's really neat how Chris finds all the similarities, and there happen to be a lot of similarities in these people's stories, because we really try our best not to Like, we don't go in with our own thoughts and opinions and have a narrative. You know, we had the title, In Plain Sight, the Intelligence Community UFOs. Hey, we want to make it about UFOs, aliens, and the intelligence community.
Yeah.
When we get the interviews, we'll figure out what that looks like, but we're not going to go in and move people and guide people into these different topics. So we just get them. So I think, like, one of my skills is just being myself, and I get these people in a very comfortable state where they feel okay being vulnerable and sharing these personal and sometimes, you know, for a long time, what people would consider embarrassing stories, right? And so Chris and I are trying to help destigmatize that. So I think maybe we've just been fortunate that whether it's me or Chris and I interviewing these people, they just feel comfortable enough where they're like, you know what, I don't need to embellish anything. I'm just going to share with them, these guys, what happened to me and what I saw and what I heard and felt and these types of things, and just be genuine. So far, everybody comes off that way. And it's really wild because, you can make up stuff in your mind of how a CIA officer should be or counterintelligence officer. And then you go and meet these people and you're like, oh, dude, they're like completely human. They're a little nervous beforehand because there's cameras set up and lights and a mic, you know.
Well, I should imagine, like, Chris, you've seen it, you see things over and over again because you're editing it together, so you're listening as well as observing as you're going through it. At any point, did you think that anyone that was actually been recorded that he might not be saying what he really thinks, or he might be hiding back, or he might be a total not a liar?
I don't think, well, okay. We've definitely interviewed some controversial people, Richard Doty being one of them. It's hard for me to trust him simply because his whole career was disinformation.
Yeah.
So it's like, is he gaslighting me? Is he telling me the truth? I don't know. I'm definitely skeptical of him. He does come across as very authentic and disarming as an individual. Could be his training. But when he speaks as though he's giving like a presentation. So it sounds very fact-based. Doesn't sound as personal to him. So I am skeptical of him. But the things he's saying are so freaking interesting. So... And like, just because of the nature of his job and everything, it'd be like stupid for us not to include him in the movie. He's honest with what he did. Yeah. And we don't try to, like what Tyler said, we don't try to paint a narrative. We're just trying to let these people get their stories out there. Yeah. Now, on the flip side, John Ramirez, there was a ton of footage that didn't make it into the documentary that was all basically personal stuff, recounting his experiences since he was a child and throughout his life. And to me, he's such a super authentic dude because he has such a personal connection to this phenomenon, and it bleeds through. There's a lot of emotion that comes out.
So you're sort of protecting him, protecting the information that you don't really need to. It
didn't fit in this story. That we ended up telling. Like, it would have just. It's a different story there. Yeah. But and there's been times where we've done interviews for other films and stuff where people, get emotional. Like, there is definitely something personal to a lot of these people's experiences, and I question, like, what. For such like a stigmatized subject, what would they gain?
Yes,
by recounting
I was just about to say, because like I was saying earlier about these high-ranking officials who they make these claims, they've got nothing to gain but ridicule, or especially 20 years ago, and when it's amazing that they just kind of like still maintain that it's the truth and all the way throughout. So, you're right. They've got literally nothing to gain from the situation. I always kind of feel like that in a lot of these paranormal cases or a lot of kind of UFO cases, because you're not going to get fame or fortune, generally speaking. And especially, if you are an officer, then potentially could, ruin your career.
For sure.
You're there to fight for humanity in your country.
Gives you a bit more credibility to what they're saying, because I remember in the 90s I'd be watching there was a lot of UFO stuff going on, and it'd be a lot of just general people who'd had UFO experiences who they'd interview, and I remember seeing a military officer, and I think it was the case where it was a police officer who was driving down through the desert,
in Mexico,
heading to an incident in Mexico, and he basically witnessed a UFO and reported it. Like, it was actually witnessed by the mayor as well, like, of the town. So, like, there's two officials from the town who knew what they saw, but, you know, back then it was such a stigma to that sort of thing. It's could be seen as being a bit crazy, but
even
it's interesting.
1800s, you've seen that there was a number of reports before, like Roswell. There was quite a lot, and in the papers as well. And this is the thing, and high officials and even a lot of people have seen, you know, certain incidents, but there was nothing to grab.
I think
evidence.
As well, though, because I think you guys cover that in the documentary about how in the 50s, when, you know, especially like before Roswell and stuff, when they were doing the kind of the military test flights of kind of these ships, it was like nothing that anybody had seen before. So if you did see something streaking across the sky, you wouldn't know what it was. You might think it was something out of this world. And like it's like when you do kind of like a first draft of something, or you build a concept model, you're not going to paint it up and everything. So generally speaking, they were all metallic, you know, and again, you're going to think, what's that metallic thing flying through the sky? It's like, I've never seen one of those before. So it's I feel like those...
And to you, it's probably not even metallic. It's a bright, you know, it's reflecting
like
sunlight.
Like
it's just a bright light streaking across the sky. You don't even see a silver object. You just see a very, very bright, intense light. And your mind's like, wait, what? There's nothing man-made that can do that.
Especially back then as well, in the 50s. I mean, we're used to it now. We see stuff in the sky now when it's like, you've got to go, is it a satellite? Is it a plane? Is it a helicopter? You know, there's so many things it could be that trying to narrow it down to, is it a potential UFO is again it's a bit more difficult.
Yeah, we see more of them now as well.
What's that?
Yeah. We see more UFOs now. There are more reports, there are more, but now it's more on, yeah, it could be a plane, helicopter, or whatever. Let's see how it moves and where it dims the lights out and where it, like, you know, does it go off somewhere and then come back like seconds later, and different flight colours and stuff comes out of them and stuff. So all that kind of stuff. Then you can throw all the planes, the military stuff, like kind of out the window, because there is no way we could even survive the speeds that these are doing. There's no way in some of them, or even small, and you not even now we've got enough energy to put into a drone to make it go that fast. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, what's next for you guys then? Have you kind of? I mean, in terms
before we move on, though, I wanted to say about the people we interview. If we ever do come across someone where we think they're not being genuine, if they're not being authentic, if we feel like they're just telling us what we want to hear, we probably, you know, we're not going to include something like that, because that's not really what the goal of this is. We never approach a movie with what we exactly want people to say. We kind of are uncovering it, like Tyler said, it's like sculpting away at this stuff. So, yeah, I mean... We definitely interview controversial figures, though, and we do get flack for that occasionally, and, you know, that's the internet.
Well, I kind of know that feeling. I mean, we've interviewed flat earthers and people, so, you know.
Don't go there.
And it's like where we're at now. We're two dudes making these movies. They're small scale, but we're growing a fan base slowly. We can't offer fame or notoriety, so they're coming to us for their genuine stories. As we grow and get bigger, which we are definitely going to do as we continue making these documentaries, I'm sure we will get people that reach out to us because they do see some potential to further their careers or whatever. And it's something we're going to actually have to really probably be aware of. I
get messages like that now, just from different people, you know, and you just, I just kind of use my best judgment. You know, sometimes you can tell. I think just Chris will attest to this, that I don't know. I've just been fortunate and blessed with like a good memory, just pretty strong. And so I just have this knack for like, I don't know, like if somebody is inconsistent in what they're saying, and it can be like very innocuous, like it doesn't need to be some major, like it'll just be something very tiny that didn't even need to be told, right? But like, you know, I just, as information keeps coming in, just at some point, if there's just ever an inconsistency, like, dude, I don't know, it pings my radar. And so, so far
starts tingling.
We haven't had anybody like that. And I'm hopeful with our good positive vibes and intentions and mindsets that, you know, that we don't come across it, but when we do, we'll deal with it. And yeah, my gut says, yeah, I mean, dude, we're not just, whatever. If we can go make fictional works in movies, right? Well, like if you look at these docs, it's polished. It's high quality. Chris just finished filming his sci-fi horror feature Transient, which he wrote and directed. So yeah, we can make feature film. He's in post-production now. It looks great. So if we want to do that stuff, we can go do that.
Well, you are
trying to do with Docside Media. It's interesting, informative, entertaining, and thought-provoking paranormal documentaries.
You both seem really genuine, and you know, and in terms of kind of looking for answers, and you're inquisitive, and you want to find out and uncover the truth, story, and get those questions answered for yourself. And I believe that that's what you're doing with your documentary work, and obviously, you want to kind of deliver as an authentic piece as you can. So, I mean, in terms of...
Well, we definitely do. Like we really put ourselves out there. We go on so many podcasts. We put so much content out on the internet. Like we just try and be as completely open and honest about this stuff. I freely admit I'm the most skeptical one on this subject matter and everything we cover. So I'm not going to try and hide anything because...
But it's always good to have that skepticism.
Exactly.
So have you kind of worked out, or have you had any ideas from this project that you were thinking of maybe carrying over onto your next documentary?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Tyler. We got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so we've got, all right, so a doc that will be coming out sometime soon, or in early 2023, is Ghosts in the Graveyard, Pure Pandemonium. Because there's an abandoned ghost town in Pandemonium, Pennsylvania, which for your viewers and listeners out there, if you're not aware, Pandemonium is Latin for abode of demons, right? So we've got this old, abandoned, historic ghost town, and there's a haunted cemetery there with a bunch of accounts of spooky, large black figures roaming the mountainside, and then also other paranormal experiences, because most likely in this tiny cemetery out in the middle of nowhere in the state forest, it's just it's still in pristine condition, which is weird because it's out in the middle of nowhere. And dude, I was there over the summer interviewing an author and historian on the city or the ghost town of Pandemonium, and had specifically asked him, oh, dude, you're out here, whatever. You said you've been coming out here 10 years. Is it always this well kept? And he's like, yeah, whether I come in summer, fall, any time of year, the undergrowth is always the same height. And I'll be darned if we didn't just go back out there last weekend and it was the same height as when I was in there, there in the summer. The grass was the same height, the undergrowth. It was so weird. But that doc is almost cursed, and we tried to go film it twice by doing a haunted camp out overnight at the cemetery with a paranormal investigator and medium and a bunch of other adventurous, curious people. And both times, last minute, the first time in September, Chris got deathly ill. He started vomiting. He always says it wasn't deathly ill, but I'm like, bro, come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And he's like, dude, no, I can't. I'm dying. So I say deathly ill, and I'm standing behind it.
That's fair.
Then last weekend, we're out there. We are out there. We got the tent set up, fire made. We get all the tripods set up, lights. We're getting ready to interview the paranormal investigator and medium. She's got all this great equipment, and she's just very into this, right? So I'm like, this, I can tell we're going to get great footage. I mean, she's blessing the area, just all this just dope stuff. And I shit you not, out in the middle of nowhere with no cell phone service, she gets a voicemail right before we go to start recording from her brother and her sister-in-law. They're having a baby, and she has to, like, the sister-in-law was induced, baby's coming. She has to leave and go be with the family. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then so I had to I'm like, oh, just whatever. We had to pivot quick. I hop in my car, drive 20 minutes so I can go get cell service, call the rest of the people that are driving to this cemetery, be like, guys, we got to pivot. We got to bail. We will reschedule. And so I think now we're going to do it November 21st. So if you boys, if your passports are good,
12th.
And you can get
12th.
November 12th.
Oh,
I'm dyslexic at this. Sorry, you just sent me the graphic today. But if you guys can get across the pond here and want to be a part of a doc, the November 12th, we're gonna refilm it or reshoot it, start shooting it. And then Chris, tell them about this idea you have for a great doc that you've been itching to make.
So I have an idea that Tyler, I had to convince him by going on a bunch of podcasts and dropping it until people said it's a good idea.
Okay.
I want to go. So we are near Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and in Bethlehem, there's apparently this old hotel that is haunted at Christmas time. And I've never seen a Christmas ghost documentary. And I thought, that sounds something super fun and interesting. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more on the cheesy side. I don't know. We'll see what the stories are like. I don't know, honestly. But it sounded really intriguing and fun. So that's what I'm hoping we can do this December.
No, that sounds actually a really good idea as well. And I mean, just based on other media, it's like Christmas things are popular. People, it'll get pulled out every Christmas.
That's another thing.
It's good watch. I love Christmas horror movies, so me
too. Me too.
Yeah. So I mean, you mentioned there about the curse. This curse. Did you actually physically feel sick, Chris, on that?
The first time when we were getting ready to go, I just started vomiting everywhere. Like I was fine the day before, and I couldn't stop. Or
was you actually just arrived at a location, or was that before?
No, it was like the day of that we were getting ready.
The day before.
It was the day before, yeah. And I
kept telling you, come on, you can do it.
Yeah.
Did you man up? Oh, mate. Because I thought, when you mentioned that, because there's so many instances where people get to these haunted locations, especially if there's weird energy, and it makes them physically sick. But it's weird. But I'm glad you recovered there, Chris.
Thank you.
I was going to say, obviously, you've invited us over there. I mean, I'd love to do that'd be amazing. I keep saying to Taylor, we need to go on ghost hunts and try and find some people to kind of go on ghost investigations with. Right. Obviously, if you're ever in the UK as well, if you're filming any documentaries over here, feel free to give us a shout.
Yeah, we're very haunted over here. We are very haunted.
Any other questions you want to ask, Taylor?
From the beginning of doing about UFOs, from where your beliefs were then to where your beliefs are like now from it, what has anything changed, or what has changed?
I'm much more knowledgeable now about the subject matter. I always had interest, sort of, just in the idea. But now, hearing all these stories from all these individuals and credible individuals, I definitely feel like I understand a lot more of the phenomenon.
You're like me in that respect, because I came into this podcast very skeptical about this stuff. And as I've kind of researched it and got to kind of look into it, I feel like there's a lot of kind of psychology behind a lot of these kind of beliefs and stuff, and why people... and even down to, it depends what we're talking about, but it can range from mass hysteria to actually believing that they've seen something or had an experience, or there's many reasons why people can kind of have these experiences. But like you said there, it gives you a better understanding of these things, and even just an understanding of the story itself. You know, and that's how I like to see it, as kind of like it's a story to me, and
missing
people find that
pages and it just needs to be
but I'd like
added.
to kind of unpack that in a way that it's going to enlighten me as well, in terms of making it more knowledgeable. So I get where you're coming from there.
It definitely it's been shaping me on a personal level a lot. Like I'm in my mid to late 30s now. I'm trying to be a more open-minded person, and man, how many people get to say they like went out on like haunted battlefields of Gettysburg and camped out all night with a medium and done a seance? Like, we just get to do these experiences and meet these people. And it's like when people say you need to travel, because it kind of like reshapes your whole point of view of the world. And this is kind of doing that on a like a micro level, I think, in some ways. But hopefully, as we get bigger and more budgets and stuff, we can travel a bit more and just meet more people.
The dream.
That's what we're trying to gain up to.
You kind of strike me though as kind of, when you were just talking there, Chris, you seem to kind of, I feel like you've got more of a lean towards the paranormal side.
Well, I'm a huge horror fan from like just narrative stuff, so that always interests me, just because I think it's fun no matter what we find. Like, you know what I mean? I just love it. So So how would you feel? What would happen if you actually did have an encounter on one of these? Dude,
shit himself.
Well, we sort of did on Ghosts of Gettysburg, where I had these battery pack things. I don't know if I have. No, I don't have it. But they're like just you charge them up, and then you take them for like camping. And we got out to the battlefield, and everybody keeps telling us, "Oh, you're gonna have all these issues with your electronics." I had just gotten this thing. I used it once. We went to turn it on. It didn't work. I was like, "What the hell?" Because everybody kept saying it's not gonna work, and it didn't. So that was weird. That was weird. I didn't have any other experiences that night, but
during the seance, your name during the Estes method for the
that's true. That is true.
Spirit box. I mean, it could have been coincidence, but it was interesting that your name and the other person at the camp out that were the most skeptical of the group, somehow both your names, were randomly spoken out loud during this spirit box seance.
Dude, I can only imagine if I do like really experience something, how that would just reshape all my past experiences in a lot of ways too. So I don't know. I'm open to it though. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the future holds.
Well, we look forward to seeing what the future holds, and we look forward to seeing your next documentaries. If you want to go and check out In Plain Sight, it's available on. Where is it available, guys? It's available everywhere, isn't it? Amazon, Apple TV, Google Play. Where else?
iTunes, Microsoft, PlayStation, Vudu, Vimeo, like Vimeo on demand, I believe. And two other quick plugs. We're also making a doc on remote viewing.
Oh, right.
I'll start production on that very shortly, as well as reincarnation, like past life regression. We're going to do one on that as well. So we got a number of, like Chris said, man, this helps make us more well-rounded individuals to just go out and learn and experience and hear from these people who've had these unique experiences. So like, we're just going to keep creating this interesting, informative, entertaining, and thought-provoking paranormal documentary content. Yeah, and we hope that people continue to enjoy it. And just as a side note, like, dude, I think it's pretty wild to see, Docside Media, Chris and I, two guys, be able to put out this polished, and from what all the podcast hosts have said, just nothing but compliments on. Man, this is a really great doc with new information. It looks so sharp and high production value. So it's cool for us to see that like on Amazon. And then, see James Fox, who's like a well-known UFO filmmaker. He did The Phenomenon. He just put out his documentary Moment of Contact. And I saw like, dude, I'm like, Chris, bro, ours is available in 4K. Theirs is only in 1080p. Their budget had to be 1,000 times more than ours. How are we out? Like, I haven't seen it, and I'm not trying to knock on James Fox, but I do need to watch it. I'll just be interested to see, like, dude, this is crazy. We feel very fortunate to go on these adventures, like Chris said, and just that we live in the day and age where we can even make this type of content, right, with consumer grade equipment. We've put a lot of money, you know, like a decent amount of money. It's not super cheap, but if other people are like, dude, that looks cool, I bet I could do that. You definitely could.
Yeah.
With relatively inexpensive equipment nowadays to make this, you know, just the cameras and stuff, or some of those drone shots. I mean, 30 years ago, like a drone shot, that might have been whatever, $200,000 for a helicopter to go fly, right, for 60 minutes with this, you know, $80,000 camera.
The equipment nowadays is definitely making, you know, it a lot more accessible for people to make films and documentaries. Obviously, you guys are smashing it. I honestly wish you all the best. Going forward.
Thanks, guys.
And like you say, the other guys who kind of give you praise, they're not wrong. You should go. Everyone should go and check it out.
Really good film.
If you want to give them one last plug before we call it a night.
You got it. So, again, it's Chris Ruppert and Taylor Transue with Docside Media. That's right. The dopest documentary production company is Side of Milky Way. Dig it, dug it, dagnabbit, let's go. Dude, we're super active on Facebook at Docside Media, and then you can also catch us on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at Docside Media. That's DOCSIDE Media. And then our website is www.docsidemedia.com, where we've got links to all our dope paranormal documentaries. And please, give them socials a follow, because we always try and include people where we can and when we can on these documentaries. If they're public campouts, we put these public call outs and posts, and anybody is more than welcome to join us. You don't need any experience. That's part, like we need to have some experts there, right? But everybody else, we're just looking for people to go have genuine experiences.
I'm along for the ride.
Yep, and come along. And so we'd love to have you there. And if you like our work, please take the second, like if it really moves you, to leave a review on Amazon, Vudu, Apple TV, wherever you watch it. Just like we take the time to read all that feedback, good, bad, and different, because we're just trying to grow as people and filmmakers and keep getting better. So
awesome.
Let us know what you think.
Nice one.
Thanks, man. I actually love these guys. They're so great. So we'll look forward to having you back. Hopefully you'll come back on and talk about your next project.
Count on it. Count on it, man. We'll send you more advanced screeners. Dude, this was a blast.
Excellent. Right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, guys, for joining us on the show. A really great documentary. I do recommend you check it out. We'll put all the links in the description, or make sure you go over to the guy's website.
Yes, and, check them out, because they've got other kind of videos as well. And
they've got loads of documentaries.
And they've got some more coming up.
Like Bigfoot stuff and all sorts. I mean, they've really got a lot coming up. And you know what? Such good filmmakers.
Yeah, definitely.
So, enough blowing smoke. We're not blowing smoke. It's true.
No. I really did think it was a really good video.
I've seen way worse documentaries on the TV.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. When I watched it, it was like, I thought...
Nicely put in blender.
I'll give it a watch, and we've covered officials and stuff like that who've kind of come out on deathbed confessions and stuff about this sort of thing, and it is interesting. So appreciate your time coming on the show, guys. Hopefully we'll get you on again.
Yes, hopefully, yes.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, you know what to do. Email us at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. Have you got an interesting topic?
Yes,
we want to hear it, and maybe our listeners might too.
Have you got any top secret information?
Top secret
any conspiracy that...
Where is the microfiche?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hang on. Well, I think we've got some news to cover.
We have.
Well, it's been a busy week this week.
It has.
Without further ado, let's get down to that.
Do.
Piddy poo. It's the news.
Jingle jangle do.
It's almost Christmas. You just reminded me with that jingle jangle business.
You know what? I know, and they're starting to bring out the Christmas stuff. Which
I seen somebody putting Christmas decorations up, like the other week.
Fucking Halloween ain't even over yet, and you know what I mean?
It's crazy, isn't it?
But then at least it wasn't in September. But then again, I did see some stuff in September.
I've seen stuff. I mean, there's stuff in shops. The supermarket shelves have got selection boxes and Christmas stuff up at Easter.
Well, it better not down the fucking prices.
I know,
the way
yeah.
things
I can't
are going.
afford a chocolate Santa this year.
No, I'll get you a chocolate bunny rabbit.
Oh, the reindeer. Oh, actually, I heard something really weird about reindeers.
All right.
Like, so it was more about magic mushrooms, actually, yeah. But do you know the fly agaric magic mushroom?
Yeah.
Which is the red and white.
Yeah,
famously,
yeah, the dotty
the
one.
famous mushroom, yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently, the reason why they've got a bit of a Christmas connection. So not only are they red and white, but apparently the reindeers used to eat them because they used to grow at the bottom of spruce trees.
All right. Okay.
So the reindeer would come over, eat the mushrooms.
Get off their
which were
tits.
actually, of course, right? And they probably thought they could fly, right? Right,
Yeah, that's where the idea come from.
So you've got these fly agaric mushrooms that reindeers come and eat them.
Mm-hmm.
To a human, they're poisonous, right? Because our stomachs can't process the poisons enough to, get the benefits.
To be able to enjoy,
unless we, they've got to be processed and heated and a load of shit done to them before we can eat them and experience the...
Yeah, and a lot of people throw a lot in instead of trying a little bit at a time.
Well, it's especially, I mean, I think there's different types. The Libya caps, I think you can have, like, without, without heat treating them or doing anything to them. But these red and white ones, I wouldn't recommend eating them off the forest floor is what I'm getting at.
No,
But...
clean them first.
But...
Go on.
The actual the original people who used to live around these areas, used to follow the reindeers, right? Because the reindeer's stomach could process the chemicals, and then they'd eat the mushrooms, they'd piss out the toxins or whatever, right?
Shit out
into the snow, and the natives would follow the reindeers eating like a pissy slushy. Right? To get high and trip balls off the fucking reindeer slush, right? So then the shaman, would go, hang on, well, I'm a shaman, so I can eat this stuff and probably handle it a bit better than most people. I'm a shaman, so he'd eat all these mushrooms. Then he'd piss in a bottle, and it'd be like, why don't you drink my piss instead of drinking reindeer piss? But that is genuinely the truth, And do you know what? I'd probably say that those natives would probably see reindeers flying as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll beat you on the pissing one.
It's not a competition.
I'll beat you on the pissing one, right? I just
so we're having a pissing competition now. Is this what it is?
No, someone else is, but we're telling stories.
All right, go on.
There's a delicacy egg, I believe, and I'm not too sure. I think it's Japan.
I know you were going to say this is horrible. These are horrible.
Now, these eggs have got to be boiled in a certain water, and that water is like 10-year-old boys' piss.
Oh.
They collect the piss from the schools, and they boil it, and it's like a green like kind of substance in the middle, but apparently it's a it's
a chicken. It's a fucking
a fetus. I should imagine
it looks horrible.
He's pulling certain toxins into the centre of it.
I'd rather have a reindeer slushy.
But yeah, apparently it's a delicacy, and it's like, no, not for me. Looks like a dragon egg.
It's crazy, isn't it? How some people do, how they kind of like, they see the world and go, nope, I'm not doing that, or I'm doing it this way, or I'm going to write my own story. This is a case about this story I found, which is the world's dirtiest man.
Oh, right, okay.
He was dubbed the world's dirtiest man, He's just died at the age of 94,
Good innings.
I mean, good innings for a man who never washed.
Yeah.
Right, now, the Iranian man who didn't bathe for more than 60 years, he died on Sunday at 94, according to local reports. They claim that he didn't bathe. I think he was called Uncle Haji, which was what he was known as. He was one of the elders, or one of the older people in the area. Most notably, he became known as the world's dirtiest man for not taking a bath in over 60 years, for fears that he'd get sick for the use of soap and water.
What? He must have been dehydrated to fuck most of his life.
He might have drank water, but I mean,
but
he's
still
never bathed in it, right? But do you know how he died?
How?
Right, so this is what the headline reads, right? So the world's dirtiest man dies at 94, reportedly not long after his first bath in 60 years.
Oh, fuck. Why? Did they force it on him? Like, get in that fucking bath now, you stink.
Because he had a bath.
Yeah, because he's shot.
I think it was the fucking dirt keeping him together, basically, by the sounds of it. No disrespect. Obviously, I mean, it's just amazes me
falling off.
that you could... I mean, there's a photo of him here as well. So, I mean, I'm going to take a picture and put that on Instagram, potentially. Because, I found that amazing. I feel a bit grotty if I've not had a shower after a night. I feel like feel a bit kind of like a bit scroty. Yeah, sorry, that's an horrible word. A bit grimy. Yeah. So this is what I always watch when I'm watching Walking Dead or anything like that, and I think, apocalypse would be horrible, mate. Everyone would smell. Yeah. Everyone would just be like in the same clothes, in the same underpants.
Yeah.
God knows
not washing your bollocks for like 12 months.
I mean, I think that's worse than the zombie apocalypse, to be honest. Anyway, but world's dirtiest man. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon he should have had a bath earlier, and he wouldn't have had that much of a shock. He should have had a bath around 30 year mark. Yeah, but do you reckon they threatened him? Like, you're getting in a fucking bath. You're not getting in that coffin without me having a bath first.
They probably just fucking hosed him down, to be honest.
That would probably be the best idea. You know what I mean? Have a bucket of water at the top of him when he walks outside.
He did the ice bucket challenge.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
He got nominated for the ice bucket challenge, and then he was like, for fuck's sake, I'm going to have a bath.
Yeah.
Do you know, I mean, talking about I mean, I wouldn't say, I don't even know if he was homeless, but, you know, there's a big problem with homelessness all around the world at the moment.
It's getting worse, man.
You know, there's some videos which are really eye-openers on YouTube and on the internet. If you were to kind of put Kensington Avenue, Philadelphia, or LA's Skid Row, you see some quite amazing sights in terms of, like, you know, how the society is kind of in these places. It's amazing, and I mean, a lot of it is down to this fentanyl, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got some news on that, which you can go into in a second, because I mean, the fentanyl problem in the US is fucking dire.
Yeah,
by the looks of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, especially if like these Kensington Avenue places are anything to go by. But not to say all homeless people are
on it. No. Everyone's different.
Anyone. Everybody's different, and everyone's got their own circumstances. I found this story actually about a homeless man in Los Angeles who's built a wooden house.
All right.
But it amazes me. So let's look at LA as like for an example of the kind of the divisions between the rich and the poor. Right. You've got Beverly Hills. You've got the Hollywood Hills. Hollywood. Yeah, you
got
right up the road,
many millions,
right, and then literally a stone's throw, you've got these parks and, you know, skid rows and places that are just literally littered with the homeless.
Yeah. It just shows you.
You know, I mean, and it's weird that people all congregate as in one area, because this guy, he's took it
safety
upon
in
himself.
Numbers, isn't it?
Potentially, this one guy, he's taken it upon himself to literally move away from that area,
All right.
and he's built his wooden house on Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh
yeah. If you're gonna go big.
Yeah,
you know
might
what I mean?
as well. Yeah.
He's built it on the sidewalk, and he says he's happy as Larry. It's giving him a bit of empowerment.
Yeah,
it feels like he's got a nice Beverly Hills address now. Do you know what I mean? Like Hollywood address. So I mean, he's appeared on, like, you know, Fox News, but this homeless man in LA, he's built a small wooden house. It's on wheels, so he can move it.
All right.
But he has put it on Hollywood Boulevard, and obviously people have been a bit frustrated by it. Some people are really happy to have him there, because the man, he goes by Q, and he's basically built a house on wheels using bits of wood that people have discarded. He's constructed it with the help of his friends, and he basically was offered temporary housing, right?
But when he parked there?
Well, no, beforehand, right?
Okay.
But the way he sees it is, they want to put me up in a temporary home, but I'm happy in my home I've made for myself.
Cage him up and he wants to be free.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so, I mean, he turned down the temporary housing. He prefers his makeshift home over any temporary stay in a hotel.
Fair enough,
Which is fair enough.
Yeah,
I can't argue
I
with
can't
the guy.
argue. He's more free than we are.
Exactly. He says that it's kind of giving him an empowerment. And he says he thinks that he's not bothering anyone, so why should he be penalised for that? I think that's great.
I do. I think, I think it's a good example that you don't need all the shit around you.
Yeah, good on you, Q.
Yeah.
Have a good day, mate.
Yeah.
Are you seeing anything else? Any news?
Oh, that fentanyl.
Oh, your fentanyl stuff. Yeah. So go on, tell us about that.
So I've just not that long ago, about an hour or two ago, about the companies that supplied this fentanyl. they've offered 4 to 4.4 billion to wipe out everything. To go like, right,
to fix all these...
Yeah, fix all the issues. There we go, no problem.
It's not a case of fixing the issues. You ruin like people's lives
be closed
forever.
I mean,
have you seen that lean? Yeah, like when the high on fentanyl, they call it, what is it, the dope fiend lean?
Yeah.
Like, these guys are... I think you could, say
zombies.
weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. These guys, they don't. They literally... No. And if they fell down, I don't think they'd even notice, to be honest.
No, I don't.
I don't think... that they can fix these problems as easy as they think they can. Yeah. I mean, what? So,
well, this is where you got to watch
what
drug
means
companies.
Are they going to be putting in? Well, this is the thing, you see, and this
but
is.
But we're giving them more freedom.
I mean, I don't want to be going into too much, right? Yeah, because I could see what I'm about to say could raise a lot of conversation. Yeah, right. But
all right, I'll keep it.
In terms of red tape, yeah. I'm talking like, if I've decided I'm going to create a new chemical, a new tablet or cure or whatever, some pharmaceutical bullshit.
Just stop me missus getting a mustache.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing, right? Yeah, so I'm that's my goal. Women with mustaches have suffered for too long.
Yeah. Let's shave them.
We're gonna eradicate it, right? Yeah. So I go to whoever I need to speak to and say, I want to put this drug out on the market, and I have to jump through loads of hoops, red tapes, chemical trials, all the rest of it, until I can prove that this product is safe to be sold to consumers, right? Yes. Now, when things are rushed through because of the way situations are in the globe, on the planet, where people go, oh, we can do it, but we can't be being scrutinised for all the testing and human trials and all the bullshit.
It takes 10 years.
It takes 10 years to do.
All that,
We need to get it done in 12 months. Yeah. When fentanyl must have gone through that 10-year period for it to be okayed for consumer use, and putting it in all these other all these applications for it. Yeah. So, and now they find that it's fucking really harmful.
Yeah, but they've never made so much fucking money.
You've got to kind of go, well, what about the stuff that they've just rushed through over 12 months? Yeah. You don't yet know the harming effects of things until you've had a good long test period of it. Yeah. And, let's just say that.
For like COVID, they have got one that they are doing a 10-year
study on it.
2030, right? But there is another one that's just come out.
And what do you think the findings are going to be on that?
Well, it's at the minute, including in law, it's finding that all these companies that were giving out the drugs are fucking us up.
Right. Well, let's not talk about
we won't
that
go.
Right now.
Yeah. But they are. I mean, I'd take that one. 10 years down the line. But I'm more likely to take that one than I am to take the one now because it's been tested.
It's been tried and tested, obviously, and I think most people would agree with you on that. Yeah,
now they will, yeah.
It's a bit too kind of... this is the thing, I think we kind of mess around with nature a bit too much. I found this story, I don't know if you've seen this. We've seen grow ears and stuff on mice and...
in the lab and that.
All the lab stuff that they managed to make.
Dolly the sheep and all that shit.
All day. Yeah. Well, this is the first man-made biological leaf.
Leaf?
Yep.
Oh, fucking messing with nature again.
Made a leaf. It looks quite like, it looks man-made. No, it
does look man-made.
It looks man-made. There's a photo of it here. If you want to have a look.
Oh, yeah. It's, in fact...
It's got a bit of a geometrical pattern on it.
I was actually watching about a car show the other day. Yeah. Yesterday, funny enough, and they have that in the handles. They made it and put because it's economical. They put glass over it and made one and put it in the side.
For what reasons? Because I mean, it's the same
style or something. They make it look more economical. There's a leaf being made for this machine.
It's crazy. I mean, they're basically saying that it actually can soak up carbon. Yeah, it can do all the bits and pieces that a normal leaf can do. Yeah. Soak up carbon, release oxygen.
Yeah, but it's still got to be some kind of mechanical...
I mean, I'm not being fingy, but are we on a leaf shortage? Are we running out of leaves? No. Because I don't see what actually this achieves. I feel like, fair enough, you've said that you can make a leaf, right? But it doesn't look like a leaf. It acts like a leaf, but we're not short of leaves that actually grow in the wild, so it just makes no sense to me.
I think what they may be thinking of is in about 10 years' time, like Brazil, you know, with them chopping down the lungs of the earth and like they're being chopped down like faster than ever, putting up maybe posts with these on there to turn around and go, well, we are catching carbon now. We're doing more than what the trees were doing. Well, but where in fact it's actually algae that collects more than any other.
Actually,
and we're ruining
catch
that.
more carbon than trees. Actually, in fact, as well.
Yeah.
Actually, looking down this article, there is one good application that I can see for it.
Okay, go on.
Space travel.
What do you mean? Drop a shitload of leaves on Mars and hope it soaks up?
Could be used for space exploration as an oxygen generator. This could be an advantage over normal plants because they're genetically modified to be more hardy, I suppose.
Well, if they could make that operate as a full system on its own,
then fair play.
Yeah, then you won't even need an oxygen tank. You could go further and deeper.
Suck a leaf.
Yeah.
Suck a leaf and get back out there.
Just shove this leaf in your mask and you'll be all right. There's the oxygen.
It's just making oxygen for me.
But then, it's mechanical. And if it's mechanical, it will break at one point or another. You know what I mean? So there'll be a lot of testing.
It'll decompose, I reckon, still. It's not exactly like, an infinite thing.
Then... Yeah, well, you need to make it an infinite thing, like a little mini factory, you know, like they're doing with,
how you just described that, a mini factory, like of little Oompa-Loompas making leaves.
Yeah, no, mate, no. Within the leaves, making the oxygen, you know, changing the dioxide
it's
to
like
oxygen.
One leaf's not going to pump out that much oxygen, is it? I mean, it'd be like a tree does. Would you notice the amount of oxygen one tree's producing?
But if it's mechanical, it should be able to collect more in the environment where you are at, so it possibly could throw out more.
Maybe. Well, if you genetically modify it too.
Well, it's better than genetically modifying us.
Science.
Yeah.
I love a bit of science.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know about playing God, but, you know.
Well, there's too many companies playing God and they don't even have a fucking clue. And when they make the mistakes, they always hide it, and we always pay the penalty for it.
I want to see a God fight.
Yeah.
The man who made the sheep versus the man who made the leaf.
Yeah.
God fight!
Yeah. Chewing you.
It's like, right, my money's on this guy. Right, anyway, he eats meat. This guy eats leaves.
Oh, well, hopefully there will be an MP from England who will be eating some kind of bollock soon.
I hope he chokes on a kangaroo.
Yeah. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
I hope he gets chlamydia off a fucking koala.
Koala. He ain't going to get nowhere near an animal like that.
Right, okay, so I mean... People are probably already cutting down, but I think we're talking about Matt Hancock.
Yeah, the ex-health secretary who fucked that up and...
fucked a lot of shit up, didn't he? Yeah. Got caught knobbing his secretary in his office during a time where you should be maintaining self-aware distance.
Well,
you know what I mean? 6 meters and all that, but nope.
Yeah, well, he got kicked out for that one.
He did a lot of stuff.
He lost a lot of shit.
Right, one thing I always wondered about this scandal was who was it that sent the video to the papers and all the rest of it. There's obviously somebody within the 10 Downing Street who weren't happy with what was going on and said, fuck you, Hancock.
Good. I think we need more fucking spies in there to find out what these cunts have been up to.
I don't think we need more spies. That's not a welcome invitation. That's not a welcome invitation to international terrorism.
Yeah, we already have enough
spies and stuff. It's like, hey,
but
I mean,
for that leak these kind of stuffs out that needs to be told instead of them playing games behind the protection of Parliament.
Yeah, quit playing games with my heart.
Yeah, and my money. You know what I mean? Because it's our money. We own them, and they work for us.
We don't own them.
Well, we do. We own them. We pay them. We own the cunts.
We pay them to do the job. Yeah, right. We don't own them between 9 to 5. I mean, we own them between 9 to 5. They go on business.
We own 365 days a year, mate.
I'm only joking. I just don't think it's going to help his popularity much in terms of...
Oh, no, he's been kicked out of the party. He's been suspended out of the party, so he's still an MP, but he's an MP on his own, basically. He's in his own party.
One thing that did make me laugh was, I think she's an ex-Coronation Street actress. She's also on like Loose Women occasionally. I forget her name now. Yeah, right. But short blonde hair. She's a known actress.
She's been around, right?
She's been around. She's basically known for ITV work. Yeah, right. Now she hit Twitter, kicking off, going out about Matt Hancock going on the show, and some guy, again, I must find the tweet, but like some guys just turned around and gone, well, considering you're paid by the same paymasters as fucking the guys on Celebrity Get Me Out of Here, stop fucking complaining about it and quit your job then if you're so dissatisfied. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. And I went, do you know what? Well fucking said, to be fair.
Be careful what you say out
it's
there.
Like you can't complain and say, it's a fucking piss take because your bosses have hired him.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, then quit the organisation.
Go and have a word with your bosses.
Or have a word with your bosses.
Yeah, and see how long you last.
Exactly.
Here's your contract, bye-bye.
Hitting Twitter. Just because you can say what you feel like you can say what you want now.
Well, yeah, but that's what they use it for now, you know what I mean? To try and push buttons for and arguments.
Yeah,
to
there's
try
no
and
point.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, but...
one love, people. One world, one love.
Look after each other and we'll be all fine. If we don't, then we're fucked.
Let's all sit down and have a big sesh. It'll be
I'm up for that one.
That's what I think we should do, you know. Like, if we can organise an international summit, between all the world leaders... where we just sit down,
UN and put a big bag of weed in the middle.
Big bag of weed in the middle. Yeah, right. And just say, listen, guys, right, you're not leaving until that bag's finished. Right,
No food. You can have munchies.
No.
But only if you've had some.
But no, we want a few decisions making before we order lunch.
Well, make sure they've smoked first. Make sure they've, they're in the party atmosphere and they're like, you know what, we need to sort this shit out.
I think that could solve a lot of shit. But who knows? I've never seen a fight break out.
No.
In a do you know, like a stoner circle?
Yeah. No.
Never happens.
It's like that. I don't like
it's like get the bongos out and the guitar, man. Let's have a
you
fucking
forget about
jam.
it 5 minutes later.
I know, they forget. What were we arguing about?
Fuck knows, because pass that spliff.
Yeah, anyway. So, have you got anything else news-wise?
An Australian woman...
Australia.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, just before you go any further, it is actually going back to Australia now. I'm a Celebrity
Weren't they going to Africa or something?
I don't know. I think it was in Australia. Obviously, Australia was where it was filmed, but then they moved to Conway or somewhere in Wales.
Yeah, down the road from my mate's mum and dad. But this one, I heard a couple of weeks ago that it was somewhere in Africa. It wasn't going to be in the same places.
Oh, well, he might get eaten by a lion then.
Well, no, but like you said, it's gone back to Australia, so I don't know what's gone on there. Something's
who knows? Who knows? Probably budget. Fucking, you know what I mean? I don't know.
They want more money for the show, don't
Australia, lovely place, apparently, by all accounts, but apart from everything that could kill you.
Well, anything can kill you, can't it, really?
Yeah, no, but I think you've got more chance of dying in Australia.
Well, very true. Very poisonous place, but nice.
Lovely people.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Poisonous wildlife.
Unless you're the boss of a West Australian mine who warned his staff to return back to work.
Well, why? Were they on strike or something?
Oh, no. 20 of his best employees won the national lottery.
Wait a minute. Syndicate, take it.
Yeah.
Sweet. How many employees?
Hot pick, I think it was.
How many employees does he have?
He must have had loads, but these are his best employees.
It depends how big the operation is, right? So, and
mine's
if it's
big.
a syndicate, for him to quit the job, they must have won a bit.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. They 30 million, or it would be $53 million.
Wow!
Jackpot.
So they've all come out with quite a bit of money then.
Well, each of them.
Why are they all? Wait a minute. So the boss has lost his whole workforce because they've won the lottery, and now he's asking them to come back to work.
His best workforce.
And
so
wouldn't you just be
probably
like,
people have been there for years, like
sorry, boss.
accountant, maybe, managers. You know what I mean? Imagine all your managing workforce just stood up and went, I'm fucking off.
It's a mining operation as well. And, whenever I
Losing
see
money,
kind of...
day by day.
Yeah, I was going to say, whenever I see Gold Rush...
Yeah.
If one of the pieces of equipment breaks down for a day...
Yeah.
means he can't operate, and then it's like they lose, like you say, thousands, hundreds of thousands a day. Yeah. So how long of non-running his plant would it be before he's lost as much as they've won?
Well, yeah.
He might already be at that point, and that's why he's like, look, guys, you've just ruined my business by winning the lottery.
This is it. This is why he's warned him. I think
Can't he hire new staff? I mean...
Well, promotions all around,
You're all supervisors.
Yeah. We need some more in there, because we need some more supervisors. We've got a brand new crew. Right, let's go down to the Dole office and get all the kids who've left.
It's like, I don't work here. I just come here on a consultancy basis.
Yeah,
do that.
Yeah.
I'll come back as a consultant.
But then it's going to take time to train these people, the new 20 that
load
come
of
in.
greenhorns.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? And then he's got a lot of issues, but they come out with 1.44 million, so that's nice.
Fair enough.
Yeah, or $2.6 million.
That is nice.
It is.
I wish I had that.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't go back to work either. To be honest,
do you know what? I would, but I'd be doing something I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean?
I'd be standing there having a chat.
You never know. These guys might
depends who you work for,
the money
really.
together and start their own mining operation if they're that good at it.
One of them could probably do it on their own.
Go to your boss and go, do you know what? I tell you what, I'll buy your mine off you.
Yeah. But I think he's going to have the idea he's going to sue. Because they've left him in the lurch, he could get bankrolled.
Well, yeah, no, he could bankrupt him, and like if that, like I say, it's like how long does it take before he loses as much as they've won?
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and that is kind of a bit of a conundrum, isn't it? Because on one hand, you're like, guilt free, I've won this money fair and square.
Yeah, well, in your contract, you may have to work for 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Until
all right, then I'll work for 2 weeks
until he can fill the vacancy, or you kind of. If he's been good to you as a boss, you go, do you know what, I'll help him out. I don't need the money, but, I'll crack on with the job because...
Yeah, and from what I could see from here, if it went to court, he would win. So the money you've just gained, you're going to lose at least half of it because you've got to pay the solicitors and then their solicitors. You know what I mean? So, just go back to work. Go back to work and everything will be fine.
That's like, you can't win the lottery and then be forced to go back to work.
I know, it's a bastard, that though, isn't it?
What would you guys
I'm going on holiday, mate.
I mean, leave a comment, please. I mean, would you go back to work?
Would you leave work?
Would you go back? Would you stay in work? Would you just quit tomorrow? Or if your boss asked you to return because he was struggling, would you do it?
Yeah, and he extends it for a month. Not 2 weeks, but you extended to a month you owe me.
I don't know. I'm not paying your holiday pay. Yeah, anyway.
Well, let's see what the law says. I've got money now, I can get my solicitor on the fucker.
I've got a couple of stories before crack on with
I got another
news. Go on, you crack on
another
with
bit of a lottery win. A lady walked.
A lady?
Well, let's presume she was a lady.
A lady?
Had gone into a shop and won a lottery win of 100k. And to celebrate, she thought she'd buy 3 more tickets.
Oh, she didn't tell me she won again.
She won 300k, so for every one ticket she had, she won 100k.
Oh my days!
Yeah. I'd be like that, right? I'm doing another one, then bang.
She might have, but then got like nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
All
right, another 10 more, bang.
You're not down, are you?
Well, no.
It's like I keep seeing these videos on YouTube. I was showing you one earlier, weren't I?
Yeah.
And it's like it blows my mind, right? Yeah. So this particular video was one of those, 2p penny falls?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or whatever the equivalent is. You probably put quarters in the States.
Oh, yes.
Yeah? Or 10p's in Blackpool or wherever. If you're in Vegas, you've probably got casinos that do high stakes penny falls, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm used to just winning a handful of 2p's on these machines, but the video that I watched had a buy-in of 3 million.
Fuck that.
So you have to hand over 3 million.
For how many coins? Because I want a load of coins for fucking 3 million.
So for 3 million, I think he got 50 coins.
50 coins.
So they give him 50. In the video we watched earlier, he got about 50 coins, 50 quarters.
Yeah.
And he had to try and utilize those coins to win more coins to try and knock over the big stacks of chips and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I mean, it kind of fucking sucks you in to watch it because you just see these coins falling every 5 minutes. But what blows my mind is the payout he got. Right, in one of the videos, I think that was a 2.5 million buy-in, and he walked away with nearly 300 million.
Fucking
playing
hell.
a slot penny falls machine. And this is Vegas, but it just blows
yeah, but you
my
got to
mind
have that millions before you can do it.
Exactly my point. Yeah, who has 2.5 million to risk like that? Do you know
if
what
you
I mean?
have, just pass it this way. You know,
if you are one of those
good
people,
with it.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't put it in a slot machine. It might, don't put all of it in your slot machine.
No.
Do you know, invest in good causes like us.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right? There we go.
Pete, honestly, right, we can't even fucking sell shit on a t-shirt or a mug now.
I know. And people are putting fucking 3 million in for, what, 50 coins?
For 50 coins on
so
a
he
penny
could get
falls.
like 300 million or something. And it's
Holy
like,
Toledo.
fuck me.
Yeah,
but
so, I mean, if you've got that type of money to do that type of thing, right, then send a bit our way. I'd really fucking appreciate it.
It's not only that, it's hitting the little people now as well, because the first time I've seen them was actually on an advert on a game. On the phone, and it was like, it was shot, and it was like, what the fuck's this?
You see, do you know that trickle down, or what they call it, trickle down economics?
Yeah,
right.
The bullshit that we've had for like 40 years.
They've been talking about recently, about basically saying that if the bankers get their bonuses, then they go on a holiday, or they do this, they spend this money, and it trickles down. That's their logic behind it. It's bullshit.
Yeah. They even give it quiz shows and stuff money. Bank of England gives it to the quiz show so it circulates.
Yeah, because well, that makes sense, right? And that's what I was about to say. Now, if the National Lottery was to make like 100 millionaires, where they all got about 2 or 3 million each, one mega jackpot where they made 50 millionaires in the UK alone,
in a month.
Then that might work as trickle-down economics, because they are the type of people winning the lottery who will go and buy a new car, will buy a new house, will buy all the stuff for it.
Problem is, Camelot has lost their license and some new companies come in. Yes, they've lost their license. A new company comes in next year.
What are they called?
I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. But when I heard they lost the license, it was like, hold on. So that means the contract that John Major had written up is being undercut, and there'll be a new contract there.
Yeah, but that contract with John Major
has already been ruined.
Yeah, I know, but because no government was allowed to touch the money, but basically that's not really happened. Anyway, all these good fortune. Hope some of it rubs off on you and us.
Come this way.
I found this crazy story. We've talked about like big cats.
Yeah, we've got some
big cats.
Got some spots around there at the minute. Seriously,
loads in the UK. But would you believe an elephant-sized demon cat?
Oh no,
elephant-sized.
But I did have a dream that I went out and killed a cat. Hunted one down.
A cat?
Yeah, black cat.
I wouldn't say that on the interweb. People like cats.
No, it was a dream. I didn't go out and do it. Okay. But you know these big black cats that have been spotted all over the place.
So like a kind of like a panther or something.
Yeah. And I shot it in its front of its legs, so I didn't kill it, but I injured it so it stayed so I could capture it.
I wonder what that means.
I don't know.
Dream analysis time.
Stay away from Black Panthers.
If you like dream analysis, get on, tell Taylor what his dream means. Well, this elephant-sized demon cat is said to appear in the US Capitol before national emergencies, according to reports.
Okay.
Goes back as far as 1862. This is
a Mothman.
This is a topic, mate. I think we should cover this. This sounds awesome. So the demon cat is said to appear near the grounds of the US Capitol or the White House just before national emergencies. Sightings have been reported before the assassination of JFK and just before the stock market crashed.
Fucking hell, it must be sitting on the steps right now, just sitting there waiting.
Well, I was wondering actually that, in terms of like, that.
Yeah.
The how many seconds to midnight is it at the moment? Has it changed?
I believe it's still 1.
Is it still 1 second to midnight?
Yeah, which is it's not fucking good.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's not fucking good, especially with the extra news that I got there.
Well, I've not finished.
Oh, sorry.
So more than 150 years, the demon cat, some say, has been hanging around.
Yeah.
But yeah, size of an elephant. It's probably the most common of all the ghost stories of the capital.
See, and it's probably the probably the first time I've heard about it.
That is the first time I've heard about it.
Yeah.
I think we should go into that in a bit more depth in the future.
Yeah, I think we'll do. A show around one of them.
Yeah. So,
definitely,
quickly though, I do have a dog story. You know, we've done a cat. Let's do a dog.
Let's do a dog. We always like dogs.
This dog was caught running through Mexico. Yeah.
Caught running through Mexico. What? It's free. What's going on?
It was running around Mexico.
Yeah.
With a human head in its mouth.
Whoa.
Yeah. After a cartel message was found written next to the body.
Oh shit.
So, yeah.
Oh shit.
Poor dog.
Poor dog.
Yeah.
Poor
Poor
fucker
guy.
who had to chase the fucking dog to get the head off him.
Yeah. So the residents of a north central Mexico town were stunned as they saw a dog running down the street with a human head in its mouth. Officials in the violence plague state have confirmed the incident was due to cartel involvement.
See, the best one I've seen with a dog is where it looks like a spider and it runs down.
Oh, I've seen that.
You've seen it?
Yeah,
It's
I've seen that.
Fucking brilliant.
That is brilliant. Yeah. Fucking hell, that would scare you though.
Yeah, you'd shit yourself. You'd be kicking at the fucker.
Yeah. So right.
You needed a bit more protection.
What news have you got left?
Oh, right. I got this one when you was talking about wars and stuff. There could be another one on the horizon because North and South Korea, both of them, have fired missiles into the oceans right next to each other's coastline for the first time.
That doesn't sound good.
It doesn't sound good. That it sounds like fucking more things are
it's just escalating,
there.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just escalating and escalating.
Yeah.
Do you think, like, you know, in terms of our Nostradamus episode, mid-December, it says shit's going to happen?
It's sounding more and more.
I reckon everybody, that's deathbed confession time.
Yeah. Get that nappy on because you know you're going to shit yourself.
Yes, it's brown trousers time.
Yeah, it definitely is that one. But hopefully the powers that be will be fucking sensible, at least one of them, and turn around and go, no, we'll do it this way.
I'm sick of fucking like worrying about it.
Well, this is
half
the reason why they do it and half the reason they report it as well. It's the fear factor. It scares people, so it divides people as well.
Well,
so
it doesn't. I think it divides people, but makes them a bit more compliant into terms of this is a threat. This is what we're going to do about it. This is what you need to do. Just know your place.
Yeah, look at the pandemic. It threw everyone, right, yeah, we've got to stay in our houses. But then we had a certain amount that went, no, I'm not having this, blah, blah, this, that, and the other. But then if they did it tomorrow, most people would turn around and go, no, fuck you.
Well,
yeah.
Going on what we kind of were talking about.
Yeah.
About, you know, the Nostradamus episode we did a couple of episodes ago. Yeah. What we were talking about was an asteroid hitting, weren't we?
Yes.
Right. And we were kind of discussing with all the new kind of technologies they've got in place to track asteroids. There's not many they don't know about, right?
Yeah, the smaller ones, which are less deadly.
Well, scientists have just found a potentially hazardous asteroid hiding in the sun's glare that they didn't know about.
Oh, now you know what? The one where
the one that got away.
What was it? I think it was 96. It might have been even further forward to that. But there was an asteroid that come and they spotted it. And it come through the sun. It seems to be the most deadlier area because near enough everything that comes through there actually hits us.
And now the best bit is, right, the way the Nostradamus prediction of mid-December kind of like said there'd be an asteroid strike, but it didn't just say one asteroid, did it?
No, and there has been really close ones.
This gets better, mate, because like a team of researchers have detected a trio of near-Earth asteroids in our inner solar system. One of which is the largest found since 2014 that poses a potential risk to the planet. The asteroid remained undetected until now because of the way the sun's glare.
Yeah.
It hid it from us, right? So the near-Earth asteroid, or NEA, has potentially it's been said it's a potentially hazardous asteroid, which is designated PHA.
Yeah.
Which they're the two types of Earth objects that basically the space agency keep a track on.
Yep.
So yeah, they've named it basically. So what is it? Currently there are 1,454 NEAs that have non-zero potential for impact.
But these can always change by hitting each other.
Oh yeah, totally can change direction. But that's what
so
that's what kind of that proved. The DART project proved the other week that we can kind of redirect them. But then again, by redirecting them,
it's going to cost a lot of money and a lot of rockets.
I just
we got to already be prepared.
It's like by, do you know, right? So have you ever heard the theory about by so you hear something about your future, right? Yeah. And that you're going to die in a car crash. So you try and change the fact that you're going to die in that car crash.
Getting buses bad now.
But by doing that, you're actually instigating it. Yeah. So you're actually bringing on, by trying to avoid it, you're instigating it. Those are the actions that were taken for it to always happen.
It was deliberately told that you were told that information, you'd make them mistakes.
If you didn't, it was going to happen either way. So if you didn't know or knew, but you tried to avoid it, it'd still happen. Yeah. So what happens if we redirect an asteroid, but by redirecting it, it causes something else further down the line, like, a fucking butterfly effect, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, but that's on everything. No, so you've got to take the decisions on how.
Anyway,
what we do
I'm not saying that this is
Nostradamus'
prediction coming true, but I thought, wow, that kind of marries.
Well, a lot of things marry at the minute. If you're a churchgoer, you can see all the biblical disasters that are starting to arise and stuff like that. So, it's just a time and era that things are moving and moving quick, and hopefully it will settle down at one point or another. But let's see if these fucking idiots who run the world know what they're fucking doing.
Well, the Pentagon basically attributes most UFO sightings to spies or trash.
Yes,
stuff floating around or bits and pieces in the sky. They do take a lot of interest in. So obviously they keep an eye on asteroids. They keep an eye on stuff. But it bugs me though, because the Pentagon say that, but then like in the reports they go, we don't know what it is.
But now,
so you can't say it's trash one minute and then we don't know the next. And this is obviously we've discussed in tonight's show. I mean, it's really interesting. But go on, anything you'd like to add?
Scientists believe that they may be a second time. They've theorized, and there's some tests going on, and it's looking
a bit of tests. We've got some tests on the go.
We've got some test sticks.
So wait
out.
a minute. Right. So time.
So 2.0.
Time 2.0. How can I get on this new time? Do I need to buy a special watch?
Yeah.
Right, wait a minute. Yeah. Now, I've always said about time isn't a straight line. Time's time, right? Time could be like a winding river. We're on a winding river. Rather than going... So I'm walking down the banks of the straight road. You're walking down the banks of the windy river. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Now, if we carry on down the path, it'll take us both the same amount of time to reach the end. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But you've got the luxury of having winds and bends in your road or river, right? So
might not be a luxury.
Like Einstein's Rosen Bridge, right? You've got two parts of time running parallel to each other. Yeah. One's the future, one's the past or present. Yeah, right? So like an Einstein Rosen Bridge where you fold the paper up and point A and point B become the same point. Yeah, can you cross the river to another point in time? Right.
Well, it must be between them.
Whereas you can arrive at further down the path than I can because you've taken that shorter cut. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But they must be in between that moving from this side to that side.
Non-space.
That non-space must have material there that is not just that on its own. There'd be other kind of material in there.
Are you looking to mine non-space?
Well, yeah, but there has to be something else in there except for non-space.
Non-space.
Like,
Sorry.
Like, there's no such thing as nothing. There's even
nothing, something.
Even there's something there within that nothing.
Oh, mate, well, this is what I was getting into. We were having a bit of a fucking chat in the car, but it was like, getting into like, well, what was there before creation.
There's a lot of knobs on the road.
There's a lot of knobs about.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's interesting. Yeah, time though. I mean, it's like I'm
wondering how they found it out.
Well, I know, but what's stopped me going? Well, I theorise that there's like 9 times going at once, so I'm going to run some tests. Leave it with me.
It was interesting.
They're just theorising it. They don't mean that they've actually
the experiments that they've done so far suggest that what they have calculated out is correct.
Well,
and until they hit a dead end, and which they want to go around it somehow.
Well, unless you can bring me a new clock or watch or something that's going to fucking mind blow me and go, nah, this ain't even operating on the time this is operating on new time. I'd go, and do you know what? It's bollocks, right? What they'll do is say that there's 48 hours in a day now and you've got to work twice as hard. That's all it'll be.
That's it.
That's all it'll be.
Somehow they're going to get financially great and we get financially fucked.
Yeah, I guarantee that's what it is.
And not only that, GPS may be thrown out the window for ships soon because they're looking at a quantum method on how to move a ship to the right place at the right time without no GPS.
Yeah, mate, they use any 3 words.
That's
what they use. Yeah. They go, saw a fish, saw a rock, bit of a wreck. He tells them exactly where he is. That's it. They don't need GPS.
They won't need any kind of internet kind of system. And it'd be all down to the quantum realm.
Quantum stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
that's
all
interesting,
quantum,
isn't it?
But even with that, there's a lot of fuck-up-outs that they're doing.
Wow. Well, did you see this? Actually, meteorite crashes. We were talking about one earlier.
Yeah.
Or meteor potentials.
Yeah.
NASA's just actually got images that show a meteor crash into Mars that triggered a big earthquake.
Oh,
guess what?
What?
It kicked up water.
Nice.
That was handy, wasn't it?
Nice.
Was it a
Very
meteor
nice.
or was it nuking it like Elon wanted to do?
Well, you could. There's a lot. It depends. I suppose you don't want to use nuke, but hydrogen.
Well, that's what he said. If he nuked it, it'd be able to terraform the area or the planet quicker. But I mean,
yeah. But then you were saying,
but could this have
butterfly effect?
Could this do the same thing by kicking up this ice water? Is this the start of Mars terraforming itself?
Well, we're such a thin atmosphere that the water vapors will be trying to escape.
Well,
we've got that problem.
It kicked up boulders of water ice, which can be crucial to the future astronauts on missions. But the quake from the meteorite could also help scientists understand the centuries-old mystery of the obviously breaking a new chunk in the planet. Basically, they can go. It's like almost like digging.
True, but they might have just put a hole and we need a cork in that, because the first thing we need to do is the atmosphere. We need to make sure the atmosphere is better so we can actually, get the gravity and stuff as well and stop the water from leaving.
Totally, yeah. But even if the water vapor kind of just left, right, they've now got a crater which is about 500 feet wide, about 2 city blocks across, which... Or give them a lot of insight into the history of the planet, basically.
Oh, yeah, well, hopefully, I mean? yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, they could bring brand new stuff to our eyes. Well, might have hit a city of aliens.
Oh, poor them.
Yeah.
Just fucking got wiped out then, haven't they?
Well, we'll soon see if the hole gets plugged up pretty soon. It does, and,
Yeah, when
that'll be a question, actually.
Did
they
fix it?
Yeah, they got Bob the Builder around.
Maybe.
Yeah, he fix anything. Yeah, he's plastic, so he doesn't need to, have oxygen. Or if he does need oxygen, he can just get one of them leaves, can't he, and shove that in his mask.
Yeah, shove it down his pants.
Yeah. Oh no, I've heard it stinks down there.
Well, it depends if you're the world's dirtiest man or not.
Well, that's true. I heard he's the second biggest, dirtiest man now. Well, first now, isn't he?
Well, who?
Bob the Builder.
Bob the Builder.
Yeah.
Any in the last NASA newsies before NASA newsies? I got a NASA newsie.
Oh, Falcon 9 satellite went up with a special military satellite payload and landed. Okay, nearly didn't, but did.
Is
eventually
this for
landed.
Starlink?
Yeah.
so many up there now.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about Elon Musk, he's just bought Twitter. That's news.
Yeah.
Also, I found this story. It's not NASA news, but I forgot to mention it, and I just thought this was crazy. Woman's kids. I'm just going to read the headline there. But woman's kids destroy her boyfriend's house by pouring cement down a toilet. He must have been.
Must have been a knob, yeah.
Anyway, right.
Well, took a dump in the morning, gone there. Oh, I need a shit, mate. Oh, what the fuck?
And he just lands on a slab of concrete. Yeah. Depends how high it was.
Well, he's going to have to clean it up as well. I should imagine he's going to be the one doing the getting the jobby out first, and then.
I think he might have noticed.
I think it depends. Like if he was a knob, yeah, good on.
Well,
kids.
no, he might just been like a kid who's just gone. I wonder what, because it's water in a toilet, isn't it? If you pour like a powder that people have bags of cement knocking around.
Yeah, I don't want thinking it's cocaine. I'm going to dip it into the toilet.
Who knows? Yeah. Anyway, right. Well, that's it for news.
It is.
I've run out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we'll be back next week. Are we back next week?
Yeah.
We'll be back next week.
Yes, indeed.
Obviously, we've got a great topic.
Yes, as always.
As always.
Yeah.
So make sure you tune in for that. Subscribe and tell your friends.
Yeah.
We're available on all podcast platforms, so no matter where you get your podcasts, we're available.
We are.
Just noticed we're available on Samsung podcasts now.
Oh, Samsung. Welcome, all the Samsung owners and listeners.
Yeah. So if you're on,
and
if you
everyone
have a
else.
Samsung, do you know when you get that swipe to the left and you get like.
No.
Well, yeah, there's a bit where you swipe to the left on your home screen.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It brings you to all like the free stuff, like Samsung users, people stuff. Yeah. So you can watch some videos, you can download music or listen to some music for free because you own a Samsung, and they have podcasts.
Okay.
And we're available on there. We're available on iTunes, on Spotify.
We are. Heart Radio.
Every single podcast platform you can think of. We're probably available on there.
Yeah. If we're not, tell us and we will
rated
be.
in the high 1% of our category worldwide.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
That's
do
a
with
lot.
that information what you will.
Yeah.
But
I think we're doing all right then.
But I'd say we're at least 95% more entertaining than your average podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you stay till the end, we do rate you. You're absolute star. And some people leave just after the topic and don't bother with the news. But
what's that about, man?
I know,
listen to the news.
I think some of my more crazier insights and ideas on
fucked
life
up ideas, man.
come out in the news. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, but
that's it. Questions
it's
what's
only
going
my
out there,
opinion.
innit?
Anyway. We'll be back next week for another inciting installment of the Never a Straight Answer podcast. If you'd like to help us out, go over to the website at neverastraightanswer.co.uk where you can find downloadable content, videos, stuff, competitions,
everything,
all sorts of stuff. Make sure you stay tuned next week because we're going to be giving away one of my amazing t-shirts that I made myself with my own two hands.
And he may sign it.
And it's a one-off. So, if you want that history in your possession, make sure you get into next week's episode. Share us, subscribe, all that stuff.
Yeah, all that jibber jabber.
Can't remember. Available on social media at NASA_never on Twitter. And on Instagram, Never a Straight Answer.
It is.
But you can find all the links on the website, so do that.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
We will.
I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
And this has been the Never a Straight Answer podcast. We'll be back next time. Peace.